Hey guys, I'm Jamie Clark.
And I'm Maggie Clark.
And we're the hosts of the Psychic Evolution podcast. We want to let you know about our first live psychic evolution event, an evening under the stars in beautiful Cave Creek, Arizona.
On November 27th, 2021, we are opening up the night with a sound bath for the soul with crystal bowls and intuitive healer Harmony Fonseca from Season 3 of the podcast, and also a guided meditation to help heal Mother Earth.
And then we are welcoming spiritual guide Rebecca Cute Hands for a live recording of the podcast with a special episode called Healing for the Planet.
Following the live recording, we're going to be offering gallery readings for the audience. So for more information and to register, please visit psychicevolution.net.
We look forward to seeing you and having fun with our psychic evolution.
It's all about the evolution of your psychic senses.
Your psychic evolution.
Welcome to Psychic Evolution with evidential psychic medium Jamie Clark and spiritual coach and healer Maggie Clark.
And welcome back to another episode of Psychic Evolution. I'm Jamie Clark.
And I'm Maggie Clark, and this is the podcast where you discover the psychic potential within to empower yourself and manifest your psychic and mediumship gifts.
And your abilities are so natural, they're supernatural.
And today we have an amazing guest who has some beautiful mediumship connections, but more importantly, she is the co-founder and president of an organization called Helping Parents Heal. And this is a wonderful organization that helps bereaved parents who have lost their children. And it's nothing that we ever want to go through in life, but all of us have friends, family who have lost children. And this is a worldwide organization with groups all over the world. And Elizabeth Boisson, welcome and thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story with us today.
Thank you both. You both are such huge bright lights, and I am so grateful to you for everything that you do for helping parents heal.
When Morgan graduated, can you share the experience of what happened and then your shared death experience, which is powerful?
I would love to. And actually, that goes back to love, because the love that I felt for Morgan, although he was always and will always be one of the most important people in my life, at that very moment was just so incredibly powerful and empowering. But he was studying in Nanjing, China. It was the second time that he had studied there. He had gone over there when he was a sophomore at the University of Arizona. And then he went back because he loved being in China. He loved the people. He loved the university there. And he also just loved being able to learn about new cultures. But anyway, he was going to go to Hong Kong. And I always think that this is such an interesting thing. He was going to go to Hong Kong to visit some friends who had been there when he was a sophomore on his senior year. And we told him we were worried about that because of the fact that he might not be able to get back into China because of his visa restrictions. And it turned out that there was a group of kids who were going to be going to Tibet with two of the professors. There were 13 kids from his program. So it was, I guess, the whole program. And I thought, wow, what a great opportunity for him to be able to go to Tibet, to experience that. And we said, yeah, let's have you go there. Turned out that the professors weren't able to go, and they landed in Lhasa at 11,000 feet and then went immediately up the mountain. And as they were going up the mountain, a lot of the kids were getting car sick and throwing up. They were actually urinating on themselves, which in the bus, which is a sign of severe altitude sickness. But none of the kids recognized this. They only had a Chinese tour guide who had one goal in mind, which was to get the kids up to the base camp before nightfall. And so Morgan, as always, was kind of the big brother of everyone. He spoke Chinese better, so he was holding people's heads when they were throwing up. He was helping them out. And then when they got up to the base camp, he had such a severe headache, which is, of course, another terrible sign of altitude sickness. As a matter of fact, one of the last pictures that we have, the last picture that we have of Morgan is of him spreading his angel wings, which he does this often in pictures. He did it on the Great Wall. He did it other places. But his arms are down beside him, showing that he was already under the influence of altitude sickness before this happened. So he went to bed early, and people would see him getting up in the middle of the night in a yurt. They were staying in a yurt, which is kind of like a big tent there at the base camp, calling people by the wrong name. And that is, again, another sign of altitude sickness that no one recognized. And then at 9 a.m, when they were supposed to go back down the mountain, unfortunately, they couldn't wake Morgan up, and he was foaming at the mouth. And so because of that, one of the kids whose mother is a doctor called her, and she said, you need to get him down the mountain immediately, down in altitude. And so here these kids, Morgan was 280 pounds, 6'6", so he's a big kid, loaded Morgan onto the bus and started down the mountain. And by this time, I was called by the leader of the program, which was wonderful. He gave me Morgan's roommate's cell phone number. And by the time I was able to reach Collin, Morgan had been unloaded from the bus because he had stopped breathing, and they were attempting CPR on him. But these are university kids that don't necessarily know how to do CPR. So Collin told me, Miss Boisson, it doesn't look good. I don't think that he's going to make it. He's not breathing. We're trying to do CPR on him. And when he said that, I said immediately, Collin, please put the phone up to his ear. And when he did, I said, Morgan, we love you. We're proud of you. And don't be afraid. And right then, I was in Cave Creek, Arizona. I felt this enormous hug from the inside. And it was something that was so life-altering that I immediately, although I've always been spiritual, I immediately knew that this isn't it. I immediately knew that Morgan was great. And I immediately knew that he was going to be connected with me forever. I knew that love never, ever dies. I have since found out that, well, actually, it was a shared death experience initially, because I was sharing this transition with Morgan. I was going over there, and that was why I was feeling so much love. And I feel very grateful for it.
And notice that inner vibe already. He was vibing with that unconditional love. You felt that. You knew, didn't believe, you knew that that was the case, that he was in a great place. He also wants me to just share the fact that potentially, he's like, that was good, that what if some of those other names that he was calling the other people, he was actually starting to do mediumship and connecting with others. And that it was the association of, that's not my name. He's like, oh yeah, it is. Cause, and you're like, hey, and so there's that type of a connection. And not only that, for me doing this my whole life, also once he blended, you now see that inner reality that is the true reality. This physical is just a reflection of it. But look at how you got that life changing, that soul changing, that life blending experience to go. That instantly helps you begin the healing process, more than likely even stronger, even more powerful. And knowing the difference to give him that love and comfort. You said that physically. And then when he was ready, he graduated. And instantly in that way, you're in Cave Creek. Notice we're all interconnected. It didn't matter where you are. He soul blended and giving you that connection. Do you think that possibly with that experience with Morgan, did that maybe activate some of your intuitive abilities, some of your own mediumship abilities?
Oh, definitely. That experience changed my life forever. And in fact, I know that a lot of parents, after the passing of a child, decide to start bereavement groups because they want to be able to meet other parents. I started helping parents heal a week after. I was looking for other parents. I thought that all parents were experiencing the same thing that I was, that they were connected with their kids, that it must be happening the same way for everyone. I realized that it doesn't happen that way always, and it's actually kind of rare. But again, I know that the reason that it happened this way for Morgan was because of the fact that I already had another child in spirit. Chelsea was over there, and she passed when she was 2 days old, when she was born in France. And she was the first person that Morgan saw when he got over there. And she took his hand and led him to me. And I feel so grateful for that, because in spite of the fact that it's a terrible thing to have two children in spirit, I mean, I wouldn't want to wish it on anyone. It was such a huge gift to me for her to be able to bring me Morgan right away. So
And notice
that
you're
was
talking,
wonderful.
well, yeah, and how much of a beautiful experience that is to empower. But notice what you're saying is, well, wait a minute, they're both in spirit, yet you're knowing that they're grabbing the hands. So, so now we're starting to see that because we come from a physical body here, we have that association. And in this case, the most recent lifetime. Because, to me, we're eternal beings and we have many other lifetimes and we're not in the same vehicle every lifetime. But it becomes that soul print of familiarity. And in being able to have that activated on such a deep level, I think like I do, going, I don't necessarily understand it, but I just experienced it. And hey, guess what? There's as many worlds as there are perceivers. If you're open for this, great. If you're not, great. That's perfect, because I'm going to find my truth. And do you think that that might have been a catalyst as well, and continues to be, that you are finding your truth, your knowingness, your understanding of reality and the oneness?
Definitely. I feel these kids all the time. And I must say, I publish a newsletter as well. And if I don't have an article that I'm supposed to have in there and the mom hasn't sent it to me the night before, I will feel her son bugging me, telling me, call my mom, call my mom, call my mom. And it's so funny because I'll say, okay, yes, I promise I will. Let me go to sleep and I'll call her tomorrow. And then I'll get that article into the newsletter. And I have that happen with me with parents who have just had children pass. Sometimes I'll read the newspaper and I'll see somebody and I'll think to myself, I have to call them. Sometimes I don't. And I know that it's very invasive to have people that you don't know call. But sometimes I realize through the kids that it's something that I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm constantly being guided by the kids, but I would not call myself a medium. I have a huge connection with Morgan and Chelsea. But I also think that if I were to open up to being able to listen to all the kids all the time, the way that you guys can listen to everyone, anyone that you want to, I'd probably spend my whole day just talking to them and not doing much here. Because with 18,000 kids in the group, it would be difficult to get anything done.
I think you bring up another interesting point as to how hungry, in this case, our kids are to connect. They'll start coming to you before bugging you. That connection is also the teamwork that our loved ones, in this case, the kids, want to help other friends and kids that are on the other side to make their connections. Because I'm honored to be a presenter. And for the other presentation a couple of years ago for Helping Parents Heal, Maggie and I were sitting out at the lunch tables because I had appointments and we didn't get a chance to sit with everyone. And so all of the tables were empty and open and all the chairs were still sitting there. And as we're sitting there relaxing, all of a sudden in my mind sight, all of the kids were in every chair. They were excited. They were talking with each other. Not only that, they were putting different ways to get them. If I get in, then I'm going to pull something through and we'll get you in too. That love. It wasn't competition like, hey, it's, hey, I'm going to freaking do this. And not only that, if I get in, I'm going to help you get in. And to see that teamwork, because when that happened, we were in lunch and then I was going to be doing the presentation a little bit later. And so I wanted to see, is something going to play out? How is this going to play out? Because I've not seen that kind of teamwork before with everybody. They were all on the same page. And so as I was presenting, and I had the honor of connecting with the kids and the parents, and as I started connecting with one of the children, they all of a sudden started giving validation and information about another child of the parents who were there. And so it was beautiful because it became the rippling effect of helping others. Hey, I got in. And then some of the information connected us to the other parents. And then they connected to, and I thought that was brilliant because they're not making me do anything. I'm allowing it to happen. And to be that communicator, I am so honored and humbled because what we do can help people to help themselves. That's the empowerment. Because like I do, when
Well,
those life changes, what am I supposed to be doing?
I have understood from every reading that we have with Helping Parents Heal. We have gallery readings all the time. There are so many kids who show up, but the kids push the ones forward whose parents need it the most. And this has been every single time that I see this. And it actually gives me goosebumps when I talk about it. It is such a beautiful organization. They are so loving and caring to each other. And they really, really want each one to be able to experience this. It's not as though, I know that there's just, especially when we have meetings of 100 people or 200 people, there are 200 kids who are waiting there as well. But another thing that I've found out from having mediums in the meetings, when they see a parent smile, they high five each other in the afterlife. They are just so excited. It's not a competition to try to see if you're getting to speak to your mom or the other mom, because all of the messages that you bring through or that any of our providers bring through are messages that are destined to all of our parents, and our parents understand that. And hearing that healing going on for one parent expands that healing to all of us. And so anyway, when you're talking about the fact that they were all together at that first conference, sitting outside, getting ready to help you with your presentation, that's absolutely no surprise and so beautiful.
And you have another conference coming up in 2022. Let us know about that.
It'll be in 2022 at the Sheraton Wild Horse Pass, just south of Phoenix. So it's an 18-minute ride from the airport, which is not very far. It's a gorgeous property. It's on a golf course. It has a lazy river. It has a big group of very upscale outlets that's not far, and there's a shuttle that runs to that. There's also a casino and a nightclub, and I don't know if people will have time to go there, but you take a little boat through the winding river to get to those places. But the really important thing about this space is that it's much bigger than the space that we had in Charleston or at the Embassy Suites in Scottsdale. So we'll be able to have more parents. We'll be able to have a lot more activities as well. And I am just so thrilled because it's actually a place that was being built when we lived in Ahwatukee, which is in the south of Phoenix. We lived up against a mountain and we could see down into the valley this beautiful hotel being built. And we spent a lot of time there with Morgan for birthdays and things like that. So it'll be fun to go and have a conference at a place that means so much to my heart.
But not only that, look at the joy that we're experiencing with these connections.
Yeah.
With the people at the other resort, what do you think they were expecting? A lot of people to be sad? How did that play out?
Yes, it's funny because I think that when we got there, because they knew that it was 500 bereaved parents, they expected all of us to be maybe crying and maybe walking around kind of with hunched shoulders, and it was the complete opposite that they saw. And, we have a beautiful video of that conference that's available on YouTube. And the only thing that you see in those videos is incredible love. And we had an angel wash at the end of it, which is something that was just one of the most incredible experiences. But we all felt like we're part of a big family. And I think that that's what you become when you have a child transition. You're a part of this big family of supportive brothers and sisters who would do anything, at any hour of the day or night to help out.
Before Morgan passed and you had the shared death experience, what was your process like when Chelsea passed?
That's a very good question. And that's part of the reason that I do what I do. Chelsea passed, and unfortunately, when she passed, my husband had to leave for a foreign country immediately because I had been in the hospital for 2 months. And so by the time that I was able to get out of the hospital. He needed to leave. And so I was lucky to be home with Morgan. I was happy to be there, but nobody spoke to me about Chelsea. Nobody said anything. It was almost as though it was taboo. The only reason that I healed was because I was back with Morgan again. And I was in a foreign country. I wasn't with my family, although this was with my in-laws. And so I immediately started feeling like I had one foot here and one foot over there. I felt like I was with Morgan and I was with Chelsea, but I had no way to research this and figure out if what I was feeling was normal. I kind of felt abnormal, but I did do a lot more meditation, a lot more yoga, and it kind of drove me into doing a lot more of that to be able to handle having her transition. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Have you had any experiences where our kids worked with electronics and were able to create messages or any of those?
Yes. As a matter of fact, we have on Helping Parents Heal, we have moms saying constantly that their phones, their kids' phones, which were turned off, that don't have any juice in them or anything, send them text messages like, I love you. They send them text messages in the middle of the night and wake them up. I mean, it happens all the time. But, the electronic part, it's so interesting because I think that through electricity, also through water, through plumbing, kids are able to send us messages, as well as for us, we had a very strange thing happen in our house right after Suzanne Wilson came to do her first reading for us. And it was at our home. It was back when she used to do that kind of thing. She told us to look up. And so when we were going about our day, the next day, we were looking up, but mostly outside because we were thinking that Morgan might send us a sign from the sky. But when I drove home, parked in the garage, it smelled like insulation. And so I thought, this is a strange smell. And I looked up, and the trap door, which doesn't have a string hanging down, it's just something that you have to slide the wood forward on, and there's storage up above it, was completely open. It was above our electric golf cart, which didn't have the key in the electric golf cart, so there would have been no way that anyone could move it. And the electric golf cart had a plastic roof on it, which no one that was very heavy would be able to climb up on. Otherwise, it would have crushed it. And we had no idea of how that opened. So Cyril had to pull the golf cart out, get a ladder, get up, because it's about 12 feet, get up inside, and then push that trap door back. And then the next day, same thing. We got home, getting out of the car, I smell insulation, and I look up and it's open again. So I figure that Morgan was doing that. And you think to yourself, how much energy must that take for someone to be able to push that across from the other side? It must just be an enormous amount of energy, I'm sure. So
Morgan's
anyway,
like, it's pretty easy.
It's pretty easy. Okay.
Now, here's the thing. He also wants me to point out the fact to go, wait a minute, there's another reference to a battery thing. And in this case, right, the battery that wasn't working on this one became the catalyst of validation to go, it couldn't move. It wasn't able to do that. And so now you can see that, the very same circumstance can have a completely different meaning as well. And enough to go, this is your home. You have an idea of what's going on. And so it wasn't secondhand where someone else is sharing it. This is firsthand experience to go, holy cow. Now I've also, just my awareness, but as you make these connections even stronger, you get a clear neural soul way, like a neural pathway for information for the brain, communication through the soul. And so in being able to do that, the more you do that, the stronger the connection gets, and they'll be able to just drop information right into your mind. I'm saying that because you're going to be doing more mediumship, basically. This has come from Morgan. So within that, it's those types of firsthand experience to go, look, as soon as you're thinking about that experience, you're on that channel. You're vibing. He's training you, not making you, but getting you to interact with that to go, I don't know, I'm just doing it. Like, yeah, aren't you, huh? You're just allowing it to happen, not trying to make it happen. That's why he's doing all of these effort things that, to me, it's all energy. It takes no more energy to move a penny than a world. It takes no more energy to say I love you to one person than to the all that is. It's all energy. So within that case, it's now that they're not running on empty. They're always supercharged no matter how much energy they work with. It's not effort. It's effortless. They become that end result of physical interaction.
Well, I just want to say that you're right, and that along that energy line, Morgan is one of the strongest people that I've ever interacted with, both while he was here and then on the other side. And his best friend, who was the mascot for the Arizona Wildcat, so he was the Wildcat, went to school after to become a firefighter. And he was standing in a garage moving the car out of the garage because the house was on fire with his buddy. Buddy was going to back it out. He put it in neutral. Dan was going to push the car out. And all of a sudden, he got this hug from behind him and he was pulled off of his feet and backwards. And an air conditioning unit fell right where he would have been. He knew it was Morgan because Morgan was known for his bear hugs, and he was called Big Bear because of the bear hugs. He knew it was Morgan. The guy who was in the car said, "Dude, what just happened?" Because he seriously just flew backwards off of his feet. And Dan ended up naming his first son for Morgan. It's his second name, but it's just so beautiful. So when I say that I was amazed at the trapdoors being pushed, that's probably not as much energy as it would have taken moved in backwards the way that he did, which was pretty cool.
And in doing that now, isn't it interesting that not only is he slowing his energy down to a certain extent to vibe with this third dimension, he was literally energy-wise able to connect with that gentleman and pull him back out of the circumstance. Oh, yeah. And apparently Morgan knew that that was going to drop, or he wouldn't have done it like that. So now we're seeing the psychic aspect, right? The ability to read the potential outcome of experiences. I think that that's a big difference is the more that you use your abilities, and everybody's a psychic medium, but the more that you use it, that amplified energy speaks to people. They'll be like, you feel different. I'm like, well, I hope that's a good thing. They're like, yeah, it's different. I'm like, okay. Did that experience, that catalyst of both your beautiful children, did that allow you to discover more of you and your place in the universe?
Yes, it did. And actually being able to use that and move forward with helping parents heal, which has been very, very important. And as you know, we started small, and Mark Ireland was one of our first guests with 25 people at that meeting. And then moving from there, becoming a nonprofit, but also being able to offer all of these resources to parents that are free of charge. I feel so grateful that every single provider that helps us as a group does so free of charge. So you do. You're going to be speaking tomorrow night to our group, which is just wonderful. All of our other providers do as well. But we also have wonderful, caring listeners who are able to take a call or an email or a text at any time of the day. And we have 29 of them. They speak 7 different languages, and they're all parents who have experienced the same thing, but who have gone down the healing path just a little bit further and who reach a hand back to others to help them forward. I'm one of the caring listeners. Irene Vouvalidis is also a caring listener. Irene Vouvalidis is also our conference chair. So we're working very diligently right now to get all of this settled for the Sheraton Wild Horse Pass. But there are also lots of other affiliate leaders who are part of the caring listeners. We have other resources as well on helping parents heal that are free of charge, such as one that I really feel is near and dear to my heart is the tributes page. So parents are able to enter their kids onto the tribute page, and they can put their birth date and angel date, as well as a picture and a description of the child, their personality. And then on their birthday and angel date, I post those on Helping Parents Heal. Today I have, I think, 32 kids who all have a birthday or angel date on this day. And this is something that all parents rally around. And post beautiful messages on, because we just feel as shining light parents that it's hard to talk about our kids with anybody outside of this group of shining light parents, because our friends and even our family are very uncomfortable when we talk about our kids. They don't really know how to react, how to help us, how to say the right thing. And I think that in the early stages of grief, a lot of times people are very prickly. And so they're afraid of the reaction that that person is going to have. But we're the type of people that you can say anything to us and we understand and we get it. And it's just such a great thing to have this group of people who do get it. And that's what I think has grown out of my understanding from both Morgan and from Chelsea as well, transitioning into a beautiful place.
Well, yeah, but also bringing together an even stronger connection. You're expanding, in this case, around the world. You're going to be able to help other people in that capacity of connection, of empowerment, of love, that they can take this next level of their connection with their beautiful children. From Morgan, and no major thing, but he also keeps showing me a potential, just information, of maybe either in the book or through postings in the group, that each day one of the children and the parents are selected, and maybe the parents can write something about the children, about their child, about the experience, so that they can get the individualized expression to go, how did you handle it? What way did you do? And, whatever the case is. But Morgan just lightly drops that in to go, you don't have to act on it in any way. But he's just like the ideas guy today. I'm like, all right, here's some more information. But it's also within that this is fun because he's doing it with you. He's helping you to help yourself and other people. And he smiles at that, like, perfect. And the great thing is you can keep doing this because you're now getting the increased power in numbers vibe. And then you create the tipping point of consciousness, which is 51%, which we are just about there. Because, like I do, so many of these catalysts of experience when our loved ones graduate, I have a lot of people that are coming to me that their pain of loss is outweighing their fear of condemnation from the big guy. And, they'll be like, Jamie, I've never been to somebody who does what you do, and my church don't look too kindly on it. And I'm like, well, first, congratulations for having the guts to sit here. Second, to me, a basic meaning of mediumship is to consciously connect with a being, a spirit, an entity outside of the physical body. I'm like, is that a decent? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so with that definition, if you talk to God, Jesus, the angels, you're doing mediumship. And I'm willing to bet with that particular style, you're hoping and praying for life-changing miracles and instant communication. And I think just being able to point that out, that they've been doing this the whole time. They just didn't necessarily realize that that's what they're doing. It gave them comfort, which will tie into that spiritual aspect of nourishing the soul. Because, the beautiful religions, this whatever works for you, that's the great thing. But it's also that not everyone can go beyond that. Some might feel like they're challenged and stuck. Do you have connections to people where they felt stuck, but in talking with you, they were able to open up in their own life experience more powerfully as a healing for a couple or the parents?
I think that those connections are the most exciting for me. And I think that it happens frequently. I've had people who have said that they've come to Helping Parents Heal meetings kicking and screaming for 2 years just because they saw that it worked, but their religion was so against what we believe in, but not that we necessarily believe in anything. We're completely non-dogmatic, but just the idea of mediums and the idea of a connection with our kids on the other side is something that lots of religions talk about, the fact that this is something that we shouldn't be doing. But when they realize that all of us are normal people, first of all, and that we're not prophets, we're not religious leaders, we're just wanting to be able to have a connection with our kids on the other side, and that everything is non-dogmatic. And most importantly, nobody has to believe the way that we do to be a part of Helping Parents Heal. If they do, that's great. If they don't, that's also completely fine. But just being able to have that community and being able to interact with people who understand is so important to so many people. So that's a good question, but I can tell you that there have been many, many parents that I know of who came with a different type of belief system, who have altered it, not necessarily left that belief system behind, but altered it to be able to include that connection with our kids on the other side, which I think is so important to be able to heal.
Will you also share with us about the group for dads? If you could tell us a little bit about that as well, that'd be awesome.
I would love to. I feel very grateful that we have a helping fathers heal, which is different than our helping parents heal, because it's only dads. So dads heal in a different way. They have a different trajectory. And Mike Edwards, who runs that group, does such a fabulous job of doing so. And that's every other Wednesday of the month. And he is such a great person. He's in Houston. He's always available to talk to the dads outside of the meetings as well. But we also have Helping Siblings Heal, and those groups are specifically for siblings. And as a lot of people know, their path to healing is even harder than our path as parents, because of the fact that they feel that they have to heal their parents before they can ever start to heal themselves. And so in many cases, siblings don't start on that healing path until they've left home, actually, and then it can be very difficult. But from my experience, the shining light siblings that I've met are those kids who are going to change the world. They're the ones who want to make a difference for their brothers or sisters in spirits, because of the fact that they've become more compassionate people, because of the fact that their lives have been broken open, and they realize that something has to happen to make a difference. So they're all incredible kids too, those shining light siblings.
Wow, and you have it beautifully as to those connections with the Helping Fathers Heal, Helping Siblings. Do you have Helping Mothers Heal?
Well, it's interesting because we have many times 150 people on our meetings, and I would say that probably 85% of them are moms, because I think that the group really does appeal to moms. So, and then if we do have individual groups where people are talking to each other, it's such a rare thing to ever have a dad on there. So I think that the reason that we thought of the Helping Fathers Heal and the Helping Siblings Heal was because of the fact that we saw that they weren't able to, or didn't feel comfortable attending the main meetings that are available to everyone, but actually are more like Helping Moms Heal.
And I think that becomes the strength of mom, that, okay, if that's helping, I'm open. What is this connection? They'll be more open because they know you. They know that you're genuine. They know that you're willing to help everybody. But it's also that they're now seeing, and sometimes, the old school is like, that's not a good thing. But when they're seeing that parent, that mother do that, who's got that direct connect as well from being physically connected, that brings a little bit more, okay, let's, for the males. Okay, so it's not that stuff and crazy. It's not only that, I don't get to be the meetings, but I'm seeing the end result of what these meetings are doing for her. I think that brings up the dynamic of helping the parents heal in that new relationship with such a major change of experience.
Well, I want to say that Dr. Mark Pitstick has organized 2 meetings talking about gender differences in healing. And so he has parents that he has chosen, Brian Smith, as well as Mike and his wife, as well as Carol and Tony, a lot of people that you might already know, who speak about how their healing trajectory has been different, and about things that they need from their partners, which is really, really good for all of the parents who attend these. So he's done 2 so far. There's one that's coming up soon. So I think that that's also something that's a very good way for parents to understand what their partners are feeling.
Excellent.
Is there anything else that someone finding Helping Parents Heal for the first time absolutely has to know that we haven't covered?
Well, first of all, I think that it's important for people to know our website, which is www.helpingparentsheal.org. We're also on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and we're on Facebook. And I think we have over 100 Facebook groups. So the main group is just called Helping Parents Heal. But then we have Helping Parents Heal with the different locations as well that are available. We are in Canada, the United States, the United Kingdom, South Africa, India, Australia, and New Zealand. So those are where the physical groups are. But of course, we have parents from all over the world who attend the different meetings that we have. And we are completely free of charge, and we would love to have anyone who wants to join us to join us.
Is there a message that you would like to share with others as they're spiritually awakening themselves, as they're opening up to life again?
I really would like to. Actually, one of the things that separates us from other bereavement groups, which we don't call ourselves bereaved, we have a different type of language. We call ourselves Shining Light Parents because we believe that our kids shine through us. And one of the really important things that separates us is that we truly believe that it's possible to heal and that our kids want us to heal and that our kids are with us every step of the way. They're our biggest cheerleaders. They hold our hands as we walk down that healing path, and they are so excited for us to make progress. And so I know that a lot of people out there, when they have just had a child pass, they're worried that their child is missing out on the important life events that come up, weddings and birthdays and different things like that. Our kids are right there with us. So it's important to remember to raise a glass to that beautiful child, acknowledge that they're there. Sometimes people during weddings will even leave a chair empty for their child so that they can participate at the table of honor, knowing that they are not going to miss anything that they would have had happen here on earth. And when we see them again, it will be as though not 1 second has passed, is really, really important for all parents to know.
You know, and Morgan steps forward again with another dynamic to go, maybe, and I like his style, with that chair where we honor that loved one at the table or wherever it is, what if once in a while you take a picture of that? You might be surprised at what you find.
Oh, that's beautiful. That just gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, and the great thing is, Morgan's given all this information. So the great thing is all we have to do is listen, tap in, question everything, just be open. And that kind of the catalyst for the next phase is it's information. You're helping as many people as you can, but you're also helping yourself. People need to know,
Yes.
okay, it's okay to help yourself. You know, I thought you were taken away. Now I'm seeing I can't give what I do not have. I'm going to add more to other people and myself.
It's beautiful. And I think that that's the most important thing to realize on this journey is that helping others helps us even more. And I think that that's the way that we can all heal, is reaching out a hand to those behind us and pulling them forward.
Thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a pleasure, truly a pleasure. And I know so many people can value this organization and really start healing if they haven't already started that journey and continue their healing. Thank you so much.
Thank you both. You both are such huge bright lights, and I am so grateful to you for everything that you do for helping parents heal, and that Jamie will be speaking to us tomorrow as well as at the conference. I'm so excited about that. Thank you.
And we would love to have you back again.
I would love to do so. Thank you so much. That's an honor. Thank you.
Cool.
All right.
Since the recording of this episode, much has transpired that we would love for you to know. First and foremost, during the recording of this episode, Jamie had a lot of messages come through from Morgan on the other side for Elizabeth. And one of those was about writing a book. So we are honored to announce that this book is now available on Amazon. And the book is called Life to Afterlife, Helping Parents Heal, the book. And it is based off of a documentary by Craig McMahon called Mom, Can You Hear Me? From the Life to Afterlife series. So it's an excellent documentary if you want to learn more. And this book has even more than what the documentary shares with you. So we encourage you to follow the link in the show notes, check out this book on Amazon, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And this is what Morgan gave to Jamie for Elizabeth.
Hey, from Morgan again, he's also acknowledging a potential where maybe a number of the parents write a story or a chapter and you create a book for this,
that's
helping
beautiful.
parents heal. So just know that comes from Morgan. He just kind of steps
thank
forward to go,
you.
hey, just a little bit of the information, go, okay, perfect. And then that stuff starts playing out. It's like, holy cow. And a lot of times that kind of an ability from our loved ones in this case to just put that information out there, but it can be a catalyst to go, no, I certainly understand. And you know what, making that connection, I've got this. Because I think like you're bringing up is when people can see how you are after these circumstances, because you don't always know. And that can take everything out of our life experience. But the strength that you've had, the ability to help you heal yourself, and not only in doing that, but giving you the catalyst to help other people to help themselves, I think is a really beautiful gift that from tragedy to triumph, have you gotten other people to empower themselves? And not only that, to make their connections with their loved ones. That's brilliant.
Well, thank you. And I feel really, really grateful, not just to Craig, but to other providers like you who have all had exactly the same message. And it's kind of funny because we have so many videos on our YouTube site now. And parents are constantly saying, it's so interesting that the message of every single provider who has connections with the afterlife is exactly the same. And that's something that's very reassuring to all of them, that our kids are happy, healthy, and whole.
and that makes the difference between your psychic awareness and your spiritual experience, because it's that type to go. The psychic aspect is your individualized way of perceiving things and reading energy. The other aspect is the constant to go. It's love, it's empowerment. And basically everyone says the same thing. They go, holy cow, I felt accepted. I felt complete.
Now, if you want to hear more of the messages to Elizabeth from Morgan on the other side, and you want to listen to the unedited version of this podcast, please visit our Supercast page. The link is in the show notes. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Psychic Evolution. And until next time, keep your evolution on and reach out to those who need a helping hand and bring them up with you. Let's all raise the vibration on this planet. We can do this together.